Everyone, for today's video I'm doing something a bit different, and that's going to be a team build video. Not so much as a guide really, but sort of a showcase. I'm going to be showing off sort of what one of my favorite team comps are, and how they play, and if you want to go into like details about how each character is specifically built into this comp, it'd be way too long for me to explain every single character, especially since I have videos on these characters already. I have a playlist for all my builds, so you can very easily find them if what you see here it seems fun or cool, interesting, whatever, and you want to sort of replicate it to some degree. You can go ahead and check those out. But for the first team comp I'm going to be showing off, this is an Old Faith Tyrant team comp, and this is actually my primary team that I used for a very large majority of my first playthrough and had absolutely stellar results with it. And that is the team comp of Sir Mordred, the Black Knight, Lady Morgana Le Fay, and Lady Morgause. This team is extremely debuff and crowd control focused. They go very hard on just locking down the enemy team, preventing them from taking hardly any actions, so that way my team takes very few hits, so I don't really need a very defensive defender. Sir Mordred's role in this team is very much a debuffing role. He is also a meat wall, which does come in handy. I can throw him into a mosh pit, and he can just sit there and, absorb aggro from the nearby enemies, and he'll be completely fine. But he provides a lot of team help with his stun on Thunderbolt, his debuffing off of Chain Lightning, and damage enabling with Stigma. The Black Knight, he's the damage dealer, he's the sweeper. The rest of the team, they're softening up the targets, they're locking them down, making it so they're not fighting back, so that way when the Black Knight is ready, he can go in and just sweep and get as many kills as possible. Sometimes, ideally, he can maybe even get a full team sweep. That's not always the case though, but he's going to be getting a pretty large portion of them at least. Lady Morgana, she is sort of my secondary damage dealer, and also, like I mentioned before, very heavy on the debuffs and the crowd control. She has amazing single target damage through the combination of her Death Hex and her Glacial Spike, and if she's not doing both, she can at least Death Hex and really help enable a kill really easily for my Black Knight, especially early on before he's getting those rage stacks building up. With Ice Thorns, huge AoE, applying chill to tons of enemies, or, a single target freeze. And due to Mindstorm, she can pretty much get off one or the other every single round. And then, of course, that's not even taking into account her hexes, like Slow and Blood Hex, just very powerful. And then lastly, Lady Morgause. She is a one-person debuffing machine. She has chills, and she has shocks, she has freezes, she has stuns. She's just amazing for this team. Sort of like Morgana, she's kind of the flip, but for shocks. She has tons of AoE shocks she can lay down, and stacking them on the same targets greatly hampers them. She's very safe with her ice plate, so she can get in close and apply those sort of close range chills and freezes as well. Even more debuffing like crazy. So that's the basic team comp, that's the basic idea behind it, and sort of what each character's role is within this team comp. And let's just jump straight into the action, and you'll see how crazy they can really get. So for the first fight example, to show off their synergy, of course, I'm going into Three Sisters. This first fight I think is just really good. You have a bunch of enemies coming in from different directions, so you really got to play smart to make sure they aren't just immediately getting on top of your guys and starting to damage them, because they very much can do that. So to start out, we're just going to spread as much of these debuffs as possible, reduce the amount of AP they have, so that way they can't really do anything to me on that first turn. So that's the first turn there. I put Chain Lightning down, shocked these 3 units, so you can see they're down to 5.3 AP. Knocked down this Autumn Breed because he does like to chain in and pull in usually either my Morgana or my Morgause because they're squishy. Now that he's knocked down, his AP is set to 3.5, so he's gonna barely do anything. The only one unaffected is this one archer with 7. And then these 3 over here, who are the closest, this Winterbreed is down to 2.6, so that's not even enough for an attack. This Summerborn has 0.5. He's not going to do anything. This guy is stunned. And with the amount of AP reduction here, these guys, they're going to be able to move, and that's it. So this first turn's going to go by. The only one who's really going to get an attack in is this one archer. 1. Got up and hooked. Moved. Did nothing, took 2 steps forward. Easy. And now, my Black Knight is going to do what he does best and start getting some kills. You can see he cannot actually kill this unit, and we're trying to be as AP efficient as possible. And Morgana is great for setting up single target kills with this Death Hex. Now he does more than enough to get a kill, easily. Gonna conserve some more AP with this leap attack. Killing spree. We have Earthball now. Just get a 1 AP kill there. Move up. Cross this distance. We're starting to get low. There we go. Alright. So out of AP now. That's fine. We're just going to go ahead and pass his turn. And now we still have everyone else ready to go. Let's put another stun on him. Get into melee to give the archer that penalty, but that's fine really because we have Morgana here. Freezes him. Get some damage in. Move Margos up. Freeze, slash. They got 1 attack in during that entire fight. And it's not because I just murdered them all in a single turn with Black Knight. It's because I have insane control. 3 of my characters have very potent and powerful debuffs, and just energizes extremely well. I'm not going to be including the full fight for this one. I just wanted to show off just more of the insane control capability that this team has together. You can use this knockdown to put him in range with everyone else. Simple Ice Thorns. Thunderstorm. And lots of them have armor, so that's going to be 50% shock debuff. You see this guy's down to 0.4, this guy's 2.6 and knocked down, 0.4, 3.5. Use Chain Lightning to get the ones that we missed the first time. Even kill these crossbowmen in the process. Let's go ahead, Ice Blade up. We're actually going to move her up. So now when this guy decides to take his 1 step out of his 3 AP, he'll become chilled. Let's go ahead and put a freeze on you. And let's just pass. Let's see what happens. He took a step. And now they're also becoming, noticeably more injured, just making it that much easier for our sweeper to come in and help round them up. Going into the next turn, let's just throw down some cheap debuffs here. Oh, you, I guess. We can put down another Ice Thorn. So now, 0.4, 0.4, 0.4. Again, nothing. For this next fight, I wanted to show off going up against some Fomorians. Very high health, very tanky, they do a lot of damage, and this team, the best way to really avoid that heavy damage is just to prevent them from attacking in the first place. You can see we have a bunch of wargs and we have 2 taint hogs. They're pretty far away, so they're in perfect condition to just keep them that way. Actually going to use an ice wall. Just trap that one in. lay down the first shock, and we're actually going to hold off a bit. We can check their range. With that shock, we can already see their range is pretty heavily diminished. We'll put down a slow on him. Perfect. And we'll just kind of let them filter in a bit more, get them to bunch up, and then really start laying in and putting that heavy crowd control on them. Perfect, just like that. Then that's when Ice Thorns comes in. Boom. Down to 2.5, 3.2 AP on each of these. He got frozen because we broke that wall piece. And just going to continue to pour in the AoEs to just make them as weak as possible for our Black Knight to go in. And then Death Hex, you can see, just takes off such a huge chunk. That's like 400 damage, or 400 missing vitality. And just gonna pop off, really, all because the rest of our party put in so much work to weaken them to this state. Alright, and the last fight against actual proper Fomorians. We have a Fomorian elite here named Drusguk. Huge amount of armor, huge amount of health. We're looking at, what is that, like 864, counting vitality and HP. 564 on these beastmen, 420 on the shield breakers. Tons of armor, and they even got a couple range back here with some slaughterers. Now, some of them can actually kind of reach us, so we're going to put down some preliminary debuffs to make sure they don't get too close on us. We don't want to get pressured too hard yet. We'll just ice wall off this section here. And just let them run in. We want them to get in nice and close, bunch up, and that way we can hit them with as much of our AoE debuffs as possible. Want to be efficient. These guys back here, they're pretty far. They're probably not an issue, so yeah, we're just going to pass. Very nice. And this armor, normally a problem, not for this team. The armor is actually worse for them because shock now does 50% instead of 25. So you can see down to 5.2, 5.4 compared to the standard 8. Then we're going to throw in Ice Thorns, Glacial Spike, Chain Lightning over this way. And I mean, look, he still can't reach us. Our sweeper here is Black Knight. He has, you know, leap attack, he has Earth Ball, so mobility, it isn't a huge problem for him anymore, but the more we can conserve, the better he's going to do. Nice little line attack, no problem. Everyone's pretty unfazed by that. Death Hex on him, you can see it takes out a large chunk of his vitality, doesn't affect HP, so we're actually not going to bother putting that on him. It's better off going on like this Beastman, the Shield Breaker. Let's go ahead and put it on the Shield Breaker. Spread the love around a bit more. And just keep the debuffs rolling. Put a stem on you, you're in the back and you're ranged. Go ahead. Just put Stigma on you. Just soften you up a little bit more. Alright, let's move our Black Knight up. Just look at that nice meaty armor break on that. Going to do a Earth Shaker. Can actually get 3 targets with this. Very nice. Gonna follow up with an Earth Ball. Finish off this Slaughterer. Weaken that Beastman. Another free hit on you. And then we're just gonna finish him off. Stun him. I think we can move up to here and just get a free hit in. I'm going to reposition you up here. There we go. So he does nothing because he's stunned. He only has enough AP to walk up because he was shocked. He did nothing because the stun, and because of his shock debuff, he only had enough to move up, and this guy was actually body blocking. He couldn't get around him. Another good candidate for Death Hex here. Let's go ahead and weaken. Very nice. Just throw another stun on you. We're going to eat the hit on that. And there we go. So you see coming out of that huge fight, tons of heavy hitters, super tanky units. Didn't really matter. Our sweeper here, Black Knight, was able to kill off, a good chunk of them on his first round, and then in the interim, they did basically nothing in retaliation because of all the heavy debuffs. And then between all of them, going into that second round, able to finish him off. Our Black Knight walking away from that fight, the only one who took any damage, and he took 38. And that's because we ate an opportunity attack. Mordred missing 2 armor, everyone else perfectly fine. So that is my primary Old Faith Tyrant team. Don't really have a name for it. I guess if I had to assign one, this would just sort of be the debuff control team, as that is the heavy theme and focus of it. Just a lot of setups, a lot of AoEs, a lot of diminishing the enemy turn, so that way on my follow-up, when it's my turn to go in, they're just already weakened, they can't fight back. Some of them literally just stand there and take it because they can't do anything else. It's a very, very powerful team. I honestly think it's probably one of the best team comps you can really run for Old Faith Tyrant. There are some people that, may be concerned, well, lots of enemies start to get high debuff resistances, and, what are you going to do against them? I mean, you saw it there. I mean, that elite had high debuff resistance. I mean, Fomorians have, like 50%, 35%. And you just stack enough debuffs on them, especially with an Arcanist and Hex intensity, things like the slowing Hex, that cuts through a lot of their mental debuff resist. So, I mean, slow at the very least definitely hampers them. There's just, everyone can throw out stuns, freezes, chills, shocks. I mean, you just layer that on, even if they have high debuff resist, that's only applied to each one separately, so it just really piles on, and it may not get them to the point where it's going to skip their entire turn, but they're only going to get like half of their turn, so either that's like just movement or an attack. And you're positioning properly, you have Mordred at the front to be the one who's going to bait in that one attack they get, or maybe Black Knight. Your backline is going to be coming out of every fight pretty much unscathed, and your front line with extremely minimal damage. Some fights they're taking no damage. This team, very highly recommend you give it a try. It's a lot of fun. There's, a lot of decisions you have to make, be smart, pick, who's gonna put what AoE here, especially as they're spread out, to try and maximize as much of that control as possible. It's a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed this sort of team build showcase, and maybe you'll give it a try yourself. Thanks for watching.